Hey all, welcome to resilience+Rise, the podcast. Here we talk about adversities that can be transformed into triumph, the extraordinary potential within all of us. This podcast is a companion to my upcoming book, Resilience+Rise 26.2 Transformative Miles to Unleash Your Marathon of Life Mindset, coming spring 2025. This week we continue the journey with Joshua. If you remember, and to the people who have been in this journey, we had paused wherein I had asked him, what's the purpose of his life? Let's continue that journey. So, Joshua, you went through this trauma, this turmoil, and you surrendered to Jesus, and and you saw the transformation taking place. And this took place 10 years before. So what has been your journey from then until now?
Holy crap. Well, giving your life to God, surrendering to God, and I don't even like saying God, and I don't even like the name Jesus at this point because you could seriously argue. I don't like the conversations that happen with either name because it's misused or misunderstood, or people are like, his real name's Joshua, and then you get into those arguments. I
Sure.
just know I don't like the names. I just know that there is an amazing creator of all that part of lives inside each of us, that lives inside these trees, that lives inside the grass, that lives in everything. But I didn't know that until the early stages of walking and following Jesus, as they say. I It's been the most wild ride of my life. It's been the most challenge. It's been more challenging than when I was a chemsex addict for 20 years, and when I was overdosing and going through divorces and breakups and blah blah blah, like and shaming my family. Like that was easier than serving God. And and there's a lot of reasons for that. But here's what I'm going to say about it. That process is the one process that allows us to learn the joy in suffering. Suffering is not a bad thing. I used to think it was bad. That's why I would do cocaine, or that's why I would smoke meth or shoot meth, or, go out and go on sex binges and do all these other things like that. Like, that's what I would do with failure then, or heartbreak then. Now, because I have God inside of me, and then because my heart has been radically changed. My mind has taken a lot longer to change. The mind is a tricky thing, especially around mental illness. But my heart changed, and also the purpose in which I lived changed. I wasn't living for me anymore. Living, when I said my life is no longer my own, that meant I'm a vessel now. That meant now God's going to use me the way he sees fit. And that means that shit may happen. That may mean I become disabled again. That may mean I lose my family. That may mean that. But the thing about it that's different, even failure, is that when you fail, when you're in purpose and when you're in line with what the creator created you to do and you're following that path, failure feels different. Failure means you get up, wipe it off, and you do it again. God, what did I do different? Show me how I could do this different. You have that relationship, you have that go-to. It turns you into a not a pruning machine, but you're willing to be pruned. You're willing to be picked on. You're willing to be corrected. You're willing to fail so that you can learn from the failure. And when you walk with God, when you live in that purpose, everything changes. I don't know that my life was harder. It just feels harder. It feels more difficult, but there's a joy in it. There's a joy, a renewed joy every single day to get to try it again. And the other part is that relationship that you recognize when you are off track of your purpose. you feel the gentle nudge that says, hey, maybe you shouldn't smoke that. Or maybe that drink is a bad idea for you. Maybe instead of walk or driving, you should walk or whatever, but you hear the nudges. And then maybe you don't hear that one, but then you hear the other one that's a little bit firmer. But you're more likely to hear or feel the correction much sooner so you don't fall in the ditches. But even if you fall in the ditch, because I've had relapses, I'm not going to say that I came out the last 10 years without doing drugs again. I'm not going to say that. But you know what I did do? I didn't go on 4-day benders. I was able to confess what I did. I would even do it on my own show. I'd be like, I had a relapse. And I would talk about it, and I would talk about why it happened. And then what you realize is God will use everything that you surrender. Anything that you go, I can't take this, and including my own life. When I surrendered my life because I couldn't handle my own life, when I surrendered that, God took it and did something with it. When I surrender my heartache, God does something with it. When I surrender my failures, God does something with it. And when there's a frustration, I'm used to having a microphone, not headphones. When there's a frustration that comes from the fact that some days that I can't talk because of the tremors and the way they affect my voice, I just know that I can give it to God and He'll use it. When this happened to me in June, and I was in service to God, what God created me to do, the prison work I do, I was in service when this happened. And I thought that I was going to lose everything. I couldn't talk. I thought I was dying. I told Jess, I was saying my goodbyes to her because I didn't think I was going to make it. I've almost died so many times this last year. And then I thought I was going to die when I had to leave my family because I couldn't be around anybody. Like I'm just now where I'm able to go in public without it hurting too bad. It hurts. It hurts to be in public, but like I'm at the library today because there's cleaners at the house and they're loud and they, they cause me pain. So I came to the library and this is like a place I can come. It doesn't hurt as bad as like saying going to a coffee shop. The coffee shop is like so much pain. But I was losing all this stuff and like my way of making money, acting, doing voice stuff, speaking, doing commercials. When that got taken away and I couldn't broadcast anymore, like I thought it was over. I thought like, what did I do? Like, what was all this? What was been this last 9 years for? This grinding, this effort, this struggle. What was that all for? I thought it was done, but no. I I I was quickly reminded how where I'm weak, God is strong, and I'm so grateful. Like it's so weird. Like I'm grateful for these tremors as much as I hate them because they've opened doors for me that no, I couldn't open any other way. The people that I've been fighting for and wanted to help, they, it's like no one took me serious until I became disabled. Like all the things I've been telling people for 10 years about the world to come and what they need to be prepared for. And here's the information. I couldn't give it away. I was trying to give it away. I couldn't give it away. And it took this to start getting listened to. I lost the ability to broadcast for a long time. So I wrote 8 books last year. I'm so grateful that I understand media the way that I do, because even though I couldn't talk, I knew all the other tools available to use to still get my message out. Like it didn't stop me. It just looked different. And I was able to pour into people and become more of a producer as opposed to just producing my own stuff. Started producing for other people and helping them so their message could get out, so their voices could be heard. It just helped me shape my focus. And like, I don't believe that there's an accident. I don't believe that I was molested by men and women by accident. I don't believe that I was abused or abandoned. I don't believe I became mentally ill. I don't believe I overdosed all those times. I don't believe I went to jail 6 times by accident. Like, it's all been used for something that's now made sense. And God will use, I guess the last thing I want to say about it is anything that we're willing to surrender to God, God will use way better than we can on our behalf. And that is what I've experienced. That is a truth that I know. I don't know many other truths because, frankly, I learned a lot of stuff in ministry that made me walk away from ministry. But, but there's a certain promise that I know, and that is we were created for a purpose. And that purpose is pretty freaking awesome, or we wouldn't have been created. And I do know this, no matter how big of a piece of shit you've been in your life, it's never too late for God to turn your life around, as long as you're willing to give it. And I am a living example of that because of all the bad things that I've done. All of them have been used for good now. Even my book, where I talk about all the evil that I did and all of my secrets, I wrote it so that if my exes ever read it, they would not be able to write their own book because I wanted to be that honest. I didn't want to sugarcoat the evil that I put on people. I wanted it to be real and honest. And I know some of them have read it and they know I'm not lying. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying this. Every time I had a major part, I had a major role, I had a major opportunity to have the breakthrough that would get me on the stage that I believe that I was created to be on. I would sabotage it because I was worried about people finding out about me. Now, now I'm free and it's beautiful.
Fantastic. So, when you talked about your media company, that is the media company in a box, or the Bridge Media Empowerment Centers, wherein you are putting your time and resources in helping people in different ways, whether they are at risk or whether they are abuse survivors or they have been in prisons. So,
Mm.
how does this organization help? And guys, I will be putting out Joshua's uh, connection, the links, the website, etc., in the comments. Do have a look onto it and reach out. And as we have seen, is that he's the person who has gone through hell and back, so he knows the pain that you would be going through. So
Mhm.
yes, Joshua, please.
What's the question?
The question was about the media company in a box.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
so so media company in a box is a system I created because I didn't have any money. I didn't have any money when I knew the only option for me was to go all in on me. Because
Okay.
the truth has consequences too. Being honest about being mentally ill and being honest about being in jail and things like that made it really hard for, me to find a job and find work. In fact, I had a lot of brands that I had agreed to work with pull out the last day because they heard my story and they're like, well, we can't have you represent us. And that sucked. But I knew I had to go all in on me. I just didn't know how to do it. And so the process I started to learn, it took literally over 9 years to develop Media Company in a Box. But it came from studying the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, when they put out Agenda 2030, Agenda 21, the Rockefeller Report on the future of business. Like, I was reading all that stuff because I was a conspiracy theorist. So I thought they were trying to enslave me. Well, I'm going to figure out what they're going to try to do and I'm going to find a solution. That was my attitude. I had no idea that I was going to end up learning media in the process and learning all forms of it. And it all happened because I was trying to survive. I was trying to live. I was pursuing a vision and I didn't know what to do. So every opportunity to volunteer, every opportunity to serve, every opportunity that, like, hey, I'll give you free access to this event if you're willing to sweep the floors, like, I did it. I did it. I did it, all of it. I was in LA. There's events all the time. I would volunteer. How can I help? Let me serve. Let me help. And I got access. When I started getting on, getting parts as extras, I would get bumped to principal roles because I showed up with a good attitude. Instead of hanging out on my phone, I was paying attention to what was going on. I was asking questions. I was learning. I collected all of this information through events, event production, being on set for either acting or producing or whatever. I was learning all of these roles. But fast forward to 5 years into the journey, I was an extra on the Super Bowl commercial. It's called The Greatest Game. I was hired as an extra, but I ended up getting bumped up to being a body double for Brian Urlacher. So I played of course, he had hair when we met. He looked at me and he goes, "You're my body double?" Because he had hair at the time and he's way bigger than me. And I'm a big dude. Brian Urlacher's a giant man and really nice. But it was on set there that I was looking around I was at craft services and I was looking at all of the different businesses that were there for that commercial. And I'm like, golly, this commercial's providing that much value. Like, they're the center of the universe for these companies. Like, how do I do that? And then it dropped in my head, media. And then I started going through all of my experience that I'd gained in LA and all the different. I'd been to QVC, I'd been to HSN, I'd been to all of these different things because I came into the industry with a skincare line. Like, I had my own skincare line. We were sponsoring the SBs. Doing the whole thing. It was awesome. It was awesome. So much fun. It's also how I ended up homeless the first time. That's another story. Um, that story's so crazy. Oh my God. Um, but I realized in that moment that even though I had raised millions of dollars for films and never been paid, I got screwed over. Even though I had had all of these practice runs and doing all of these different things, I never really had any success, like the success the way I knew I wanted to have it. But I also realized that I'd learned all of these very valuable roles and I was seeing it through the lens of product placement. So when immersive media had come out at this time, I like, there's so many different things that were changing. And with my childhood visions, with what I was learning in real time, and then that download about media, I'd realized that I'd learned every piece of media there was. And so then came developing the plan. This plan took years to develop because we didn't have AI at the time. And when I was doing webinars and trying to teach this strategy, no one would do it because it took so much time.
Mhm.
But I believe it's the future. I believe for people like myself that are mentally ill, and I was mentally ill at that time, that had trouble getting a job. I was thinking of human trafficking victims and ex-convicts that can't go get a regular job, and understanding that 90 something percent of trafficking victims go back to their captors because the devil they know is better than the devil they don't know. And ex-convicts who have to go back to selling drugs or whatever because they can't get a regular job. And you know what? I wouldn't want to be a Walmart greeter either. And, so like, I'm going, this is a way. Media allows you to be yourself. You can monetize anything if you know media. You can be a piece of crap. You can be an awesome person. You can be an underwater basket weaver. And if you know media, you can monetize it. So I'm developing this system. And again, no one will do it. No one, like, I'm getting students overseas, but no one is like really saying, yeah, we agree with you. This is the future. Well, then came AI. And then all of a sudden, my process went from 8 hours to 30 minutes. Still, I'm like perfecting the system, and this is amazing. Well, then I lose the ability to talk, and I
Wow.
can't
Okay.
podcast.
For having the triggers because of what you're talking about. And guys, I sincerely apologize in case it has caused something negative. But Joshua, over here, what I want to ask you is that to the people who are facing challenges in different ways, I won't ask you the word advice, but what are the suggestions that they can do that they can get themselves to be more resilient, more stronger, and believe in God, the Creator, whatever, however it is, or what else they could do in this journey called life?
Start with surrender. I don't know if I would even say that I would try to convince you to believe in God. But if you can at least muster the words, I surrender this to you, I surrender, thy will be done. If you can like muster that, or anytime something in your head goes wrong or something happens, if you can develop surrender, I surrender, and just saying it, I have this weird suspicion that God, or whatever the appropriate name for the creator of all that gave us a purpose, that gave us life, that makes the impossible possible, like whatever name you give that amazing energy, spirit, creator, like I just have this weird suspicion that God shows up in some way to remind you that I've got this, because I do it like it's like an exercise now. It's like a breath, a breathing. Every day I surrender. I don't just surrender what I don't love. I surrender what I love. I surrender who I love, because I realize also in this journey that nothing is owed to me. No one owes me anything. Even I can say, "Oh, poor me, I'm disabled," and I love. No one owes me anything. No one owes me anything, because I'm still breathing, and I know that God's got me. And if it's everything, anything ever comes where it's too much for me, I surrender it. I trust this with you. Show me how this can make me better. Show me how I can use this for good, or I give this to you for you to use for good. Like I have that habit now because I know what happens after. And it's amazing. It's amazing. It's just trust. And then you start to realize that it's really not about me and you, even though I'm here to serve you. What this life is God and I, the communication, the co creation, the partnership. I don't do anything without checking in, because I know my steps are stronger and more bold and more purposeful when I'm walking and I'm in tune with the one that created me. But that's a progression to get there. That doesn't happen overnight. I'm not ever going to tell you I'm never going to be a holier than thou guy. I'm still full of mistakes. I'm still flawed, but I don't care what you think about that, because I'm here to please the creator and fulfill the purpose I was created for, because I know in my heart the only thing that really matters is I do what I'm created to do. Because when I'm doing that, I will never fail. Because setbacks, what looks like failure, is never really failure. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And look, my purpose isn't about me. That's the other thing that's kind of funny. I don't care what you think about me, but it is my purpose to serve you and try to make your life better. If I can support you in a way that can make your life better, if there's a way I can serve to improve your life, then great, because that's what I was created to do. But I'm not here to make you happy. I'm not here to solve all your problems, but I am here to be in service of you. So I quit worrying about opinions. I quit worrying about failure. I quit worrying about my past. I love my past now. I love the fact that even though I don't disassociate anymore, I've got 6 characters that sit right here with me all the time, and all of their personalities will come out at different times. I love the fact that I don't have to label myself. I don't have to say I'm mentally ill. I don't have to say I'm disabled. I don't have to say those things. I can just be Josh. I don't need to come with precondition you for, well, you may meet one of my other personalities, because I'm over with that life. I get to be me now. And that is like the greatest gift ever, is that moment that you decide that being you, flaws and all, is enough. It's enough for God to use you. It's enough for you to have a purpose. It's enough for you to have joy. It's enough for you to learn the joy in suffering. And it just makes life work so much better. And I've never been happier in my life, even though I'm not where I want to be yet. I haven't reached all my goals yet. but I've never been happier in my life because I know I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And that would never have happened without surrender. So start with surrender.
Wow. And is that the reason why you've been called as the world's mayor?
The world's mayor is not about me either.
Okay.
If you
What's it
think
up?
about think about what a mayor does or what a mayor is supposed to do, not these lousy mayors we have in big cities in America. I'm talking about mayors. The mayor's job is to strategically place people in their areas of greatness so that things can get done and like big projects can get done. Things can get done for the community. But that doesn't happen unless if you position an area unless if you position people in areas of strength. So if I'm put in a position where I can use my natural God-given gifts and talents, I'm probably going to be much happier. And if I'm getting to use my gifts and talents on behalf of other people to provide value to them, to help elevate them, there's probably a good chance that I don't have time to be a racist, homophobic douchebag. There's probably I'm probably not worried about selfish things because when I'm living in my purpose, I feel good. And when I feel good, I want to make other people's lives better. But when I hate what I'm doing every single day and I'm complaining about work and I'm saying I only do this because it pays well, you might as well put it. I mean, I'm not going to say that out loud, but you like when you say those things, you're not going to bless anyone's life. It's not going to be sincere because you're miserable inside because you're doing something you hate. People talk about, oh, I hate that I do drugs. I hate that I drink too much. It's actually different than that. It go deeper. You hate what you do. That's why you drink and you do drugs. You hate your life because you're not doing what you're created to do. I still love drugs. I love drugs. I never stop loving drugs. I smell cocaine nowadays and I go, damn, that's like a good time right there. But do you know why I don't do it? It's not because of my faith. It's not because of any of that. It's because I found something I love more. And you know what that is? God's purpose for my life. And when I'm living in that, I know that if I go decide that I'm going to smoke some meth and go have a party, I know that I could end up getting a phone call where someone needs me and I won't be able to help them. How am I going to feel then? How am I going to feel if someone says, hey, we want to invest in the Bridge Media Empowerment Centers? We'd like to build 10 locations in the global south. I get that phone call if I'm messed up or I'm not capable of taking that phone call. Now what? Now what have I done? So I think about those things going, well, I may like cocaine, but I like helping people way more. I like getting to broadcast way more. I like being able to shoot a commercial or go to an audition. I got to audition for QVC for the seventh time today. That this seven, I've done it. I've done 6 auditions, and I haven't auditioned in a year. I auditioned today for QVC, despite my tremors. I just I just decided I'm going to do it. I got asked to audition. I'm doing it. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I'm hitting the glass pipe. I wouldn't have been able to. But I'm not going to tell you that I hate drugs. I'm not going to hate. I'm not going to say I hate any of it because I would be lying out of my teeth. I don't like alcohol. I've never really been a fan of alcohol, but I like drugs because I like the way it makes me feel until I don't. That said, I have something I love more, and that's what drives me. That's the only reason I get up early, go work out, I eat right, I take care of myself. I pray. I spend time with God. I do the things that are necessary to feed my mind with good things so that I can overcome those negative thoughts that come in. Oh, here's the tip. Here's the fun tip. And I used to do this when I was really haunted with my thoughts. And again, multiple personalities get wicked. But anytime I'd have a craving or I'd get a download, it would remind me of the good times of the sex and the drugs. I would say out loud, and I don't care where I was, I would say it out loud, cancel, cancel, cancel. Anytime I thought, cancel. And I'd cancel the thought. It would eventually go away. Sometimes I'd have to say it 15 times. And that's really awkward at the gym when you're in a towel, standing in front of the mirror, going, cancel, cancel. But you do what you
What?
got to do when you want to stay sober. And for me, that was it. And I finally, after years, I mean, it wasn't easy, but I finally killed the drug cravings. I mean, I still want sex because I'm a human being, but at least I killed the drug cravings. And Now I love what I do so much. I don't walk around scared I'm going to screw it up. I just choose to make the right decisions. So it'll keep me going in the way that God wants me to go.
Fantastic. Wow. What we just heard was the heart behind the world's mayor, as Joshua Berglan says. And discover, we just heard how his mission is changing lives across the globe. What I just saw was it was not just a conversation, it was raw, it was unfiltered. What it showed me was a capacity for redemption,
Hmm.
the transformative power of empathy. When I was going through this conversation, for me, it left me questioning my own potential and inspiring me to rise above my own circumstances. So, the question what I would put out to you as listeners is that what are you going to do to rise above your own circumstances? Think over it, question your own potential. What's really the purpose?
Hmm.
With this, thank you, Josh, for your space and time. It was just a amazing conversation. When I started this conversation, I said, "Okay, you have gone looked into the abyss. Boy, you have not only looked into it, you have jumped into it, you have swam through it, you have got through the muck and the swamp, and you are a phoenix." Thank you so very much, and God bless.
Thank you.
Keep back.
Thank you very much.